All right, here we are. It is March 23rd, 2022, and I have an important conversation with you today. And we're going to talk about today how to know if your food and your body challenges run deep. So, what do I mean by that? So, let's jump right in. Many of us have been on this journey with our body and our food for quite some time. And we have to slow down and ask ourselves, I've been struggling for a really long time. What is this about? So if you take maybe a past health regimen that you've done, or we'll call it a diet, you may have noticed that there have been some new things, some new healthy ways of being with your body that have stuck. So maybe you were introduced to the need to sleep and how sleep is so, so important. Or maybe you were introduced to the fact of drinking a lot more water, right? Or you name it, maybe lemon water in the morning. And these certain behaviors have stuck with you. It's been easy to do. There's certain food, maybe a lot of processed food that you let go of, and it was just easy. And then all of a sudden, all this old stuff starts creeping back in. You start eating a lot more. The guilt that you have around food is coming up. You're never able to eat, fill in the blank, without feeling guilt or shame. And you just are noticing that these behaviors, these ones you've been working on over and over again, year and year and year after year, are not going away. And we got to stop and think, Now, what often happens is the shame comes in, the guilt comes in, there's something wrong with me comes in, I'm not doing it right, I've been this way my whole life, why would I think it would ever change? All these things start popping into our head, and that's where we land, and that's the diagnosis. And so then we got a new idea, something else we're going to do, we're going to try with our food. And what we really need to do is look under the hood. And I know you've heard me say this to you before. Well, I just got a little tickle in my thank you. I know you've heard me say this to you before, that we have to separate our food from our feelings and the symptoms. So let me explain this even more. Let's take emotional eating. Many of you have reached out to me because you are emotionally eating. I've worked with so many people who are emotionally eating. They're stress eating, they're binge eating. They're binge eating because they're stressed out and they want to stop. I want to stop emotionally eating. I can't control myself around food. I'm obsessed with food, the whole story, right? And usually they only care about the fact that they're emotionally eating after they've gained weight. They are getting away with it, as they have said to me. And they made it a food issue. And it's not a food issue. It's an emotional issue. So we separate the food from the emotion and we say, okay, what is going on in my life? What is causing me to stress eat? Why am I leaning into food and I'm not finding another solution? And when we begin to separate ourselves and our behaviors and look at what is going on underneath, we can have a little bit more compassion for ourselves. Oh, this has nothing to do with my food. Maybe I'm not obsessed. Maybe there's not anything wrong with my relationship with food. Maybe what is wrong is the fact that I'm not caring for myself. Like, are you caring for yourself? Now, many of you may say, well, I don't have that much going on that it's, that I would be overeating or emotionally eating. But I want you to look at all the ways that you do not care for yourself. All the ways that you may be out of alignment. Are you speaking your truth? Are you living your truth? Are you slowing down? Are you connecting with your body on a day-to-day basis? Are you listening to what your body wants? And not just hearing it, but listening and actually following through. These are things that are so important. Are you speaking kind to yourself? Are you beating yourself up? This causes stress. And this is something that you can control. Now, there's external stresses, and a lot of it is really challenging, right? And sometimes in those moments in time, a little extra food is okay. Like, you really have to give yourself space and time around that. But it's not about the food. It's about whatever is happening in your life, and giving yourself grace and giving yourself, this is a really challenging moment. So on another level of depth that our food goes, food is nourishment. Food gives us pleasure. It connects with us. It grounds us. It allows us to feel loved, right? So I'm thinking about a client that I was working with, and she had been binge eating for like over 10 years, like hardcore binger. And we began to talk about her past and her history. And her mom was a drug addict, and she left the house when she was 14. She pretended she was 16. She got a job. And from that point on, she would come home from work and she would binge eat at night. And she hadn't connected the dots that food became that motherly nourishment. And when she connected those dots, she was able to see that she wasn't wrong. She wasn't bad. She was literally seeking love. Like, don't you have compassion for her? Isn't that like such a sweet story? And I know that's kind of an extreme story, but when we look at our lives and we look at the moments where we really needed something, and it was not given to us by a caretaker or someone that we love, or we felt betrayed, or we felt not seen or not loved or not worthy of love, all these stories, right? These are these moments that we can turn to food, because food is always there. Food is always available, and it actually works. It gives us a little bit of a high, but it's not about the food. It's about these other issues. So does anything land with you when I say that? Are you connecting any of the dots for yourself? I want you to see that your behavior around food isn't the fact that you're doing something wrong and practically you can't figure it out. There's a deeper issue that needs to be addressed. So if that's the case for you, I want you to slow down. I want you to think about that. No, that's not easy. I get it. It's not easy to look and slow down and feel into what our triggers are. I mean, for the love of God, it's so much easier to just blame it on the food. And it's so much easier just to make yourself wrong and to shame yourself about food than to actually look deeper at, wow, I was out of alignment in this situation. And that was not okay what I did to a friend, or that was not okay what that person did for me. And I didn't stick up for myself. Whatever the story is, it's so much easier just to go into shame around the food than to really look and come clean. So I know that this is warrior's work, and I know that this is deep, and I would recommend you slowing down, you getting a little bit clearer. What I'm doing is I'm offering in my schedule, it's not something I normally do, but I think it would be really beneficial for a lot of you, is I'm offering a 2.5-hour coaching session for us to go deeper, for us to figure out, like, where are you with food? What is in the way? What are some of the deeper things that need to be taken care of? What are some of the practical ways that you can actually shift and change? Where are things you're doing with food that would be an easy, graceful shift and change that would bring you some freedom and some relief? And we're going to do some Reiki. I know most of you know what that is from me, right? This healing, loving energy that helps you release stress in your body and helps to untangle some of these old patterns, these old tensions that live in the body and in the mind and in our spirit. So if you are interested in signing up for that, I do have a couple more sessions left. You can either put me in the comment or you can go ahead and PM me. I've made this pretty affordable. It's $350 for the 2.5 hours. And my intention is that we really set you up for some really a powerful experience that can begin to trickle through your life. All right, everyone. If you have any questions, you know where to reach me. I'm sending you all so much love.